Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. I'm Caroline HEWARD, known as the Harley Street Stress Expert. A warm welcome to our loyal viewers at USA Global TV and Radio, and a very special welcome to our viewers at E360 TV, as well as our new viewers from ROKU worldwide, from Amazon Fire, as well as our usual social media channels, which are YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X. A very warm welcome to everyone here that's here for the first time, and if you are here on the live or the replay. Our show today is called A Woman's Prerogative, Part 1. We have a very interesting topic today, and this show today is brought to you in partnership with E360 TV. Our show today, our title is Trailblazing Innovators, Women Who Changed the World with Their Inventions. I'm looking forward to this topic because it's going to be an interesting time looking at who changed the world. If you're here as usual, then you will know that I'm not here alone, and a warm welcome to our very special panelists. Today we have the wonderful Dr. Madalene Chan with us. So please, warm welcome to Madalene Chan.
Hello, Caroline. Hello, everyone.
Dr. Chan, please do tell our viewers a little bit about you and how you help people.
Oh, thank you, Caroline. Well, what I can say is I'm very childlike essence. What I try to do is I've always worked in creativity, anything with creativity, with singing, performance, bringing out the internal voice, meeting the internal voice with the external voice, which we have Colors of the Voice here, which is a book that I give to my students that take courses with me. And I haven't made it available for the public. It's for the students that take courses with me. And it's just about connecting with your inner voice. And with connecting with your inner voice, you start to have an intuition. And I help to bring your dreams, what you want to achieve in your life, to get on your path. That's what I do. I help to connect you to your creative heart genius in what you wish to bring into the world. I help you to listen to your heart and listen to your higher direct intelligence, bring it together, balance it out, and then we're talking. Yeah, that's what I do.
Thank you, Dr. Chan. And for myself, I help people literally bust their stress. How do I do that? I help them find the root cause of what's creating their stress. And I work with the chakra system and root cause therapy. So if you are stressed, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, or behavioral, whether you're complaining about a relationship or you're complaining about somebody at work, if you're complaining about a physical ache and pain, if you're not sleeping, this is how your stress is manifesting. And I help you break through the patterns that's creating your regular stress. Before we go through to our topic, I just want to give a shout out to join and subscribe to our channel. We are on a mission to create 100,000 subscribers. So please do subscribe to our 2 channels, USA Global TV and Radio, as well as Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. We are on a mission to supersede in the next 2 months. So please join us so that you don't miss out of education, hope, inspiration, and of course, entertainment. So today we are 38,779. So we have a little ways to go, but if you join and subscribe, you will never miss out. Also, please do join our VIP exclusive community, which has royal news from London. The royal news from London is on USA Global TV and Radio, and it's breaking news, and it's live streamed on YouTube. Please sign up because it's an absolutely brilliant channel for you to get up to the minute news. Now, without further ado, let's get into our topic. So when you think about trailblazers, when you think about women that change the world, I usually think about men, to be quite honest. And when I started doing a bit of research, and I put women inventors, I was pleasantly surprised that there are some that I know. So when you think about inventors, what comes to mind for you? Just when you think about the term trailblazing and inventors, what comes up for you?
I've got to say, Caroline, I absolutely agree with you as well. What comes up for me is men. It really does, because it's only until recently, really, that women have been considered like inventors. They started to win Nobel Prizes and everything, and yeah, so it's men that I think about in the way of inventors. Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's look at that, because it's interesting that my first initial reaction was, are there any? And they don't come to mind so quickly. So I wonder why that is. Before we actually start looking at some of the people that are, and I did find some really good people, and one that I remembered because I'd worked for an organization that was spearheaded by a woman inventor. But why do you think it is? Why do you think that there's not many women, firstly? And then why do you think it is that there isn't that trailblazing thought that we initially think about men? So why is it that women aren't there in the same way that men are? What do you think's going on there in terms of why are they not showing up?
That's an interesting question, Caroline. What comes to me in answering your question is when the Renaissance age was, and they had all these like secret societies, like Leonardo da Vinci, that was an artist, and then also an inventor of engineering. Women at that time were the ones that were homemaker. The baby boomers, they were the homemakers. That even though they went to university, and they learned and passed all their exams, then they went to finishing school, where there will be, this is how you do, become the wife of the banker or a politician or something. So, yeah, it's been more led by the male domineering energy. So it takes time.
Well, I've had a few thoughts of my own about that, and yeah. From my perspective, because I was the last of the baby boomers, and if it was very much about women being in the work, being at home and the homemaker, you're absolutely right. And if you were considered going with a boyfriend, if you had a relationship, and they would ask you, are you in a relationship? When you went for different companies for work. And if you were, you would not be taken seriously to be in management. So I feel that this is where it stems from, that we weren't taken, the feminine energy, the women were not taken seriously to be in those positions of management and to be in those higher management positions. Also, I feel that because of that, and because there's been a bit of a fight to be in the boardroom, that many women are not in the workplace in those higher positions. So because they don't feel they're taken seriously, it's almost like they're a bit taking that seat and not pushing themselves forward, because there's much more of a competition, there's much more challenge. What are your thoughts about that, Dr. Chan?
Oh, again, a great question. What comes to my mind is that women inventors were not so prioritized in the form of engineering training, industrial revolution, but in the health department, invention of certain cures, women were actually utilized in that way. They were really looked upon in a positive manner. It was acceptable for them to be in the health department. Maybe because women were the nurses. At that time, there was a lot of nurses that were women, so it made sense for them to almost expand into more doctor and then studying stems in cells, for example.
I totally agree with you. And I now want to share women that are the trailblazers. Now, I worked for a company for a while in marketing called Marie Curie Cancer Care. And the company was spearheaded by Marie Curie, who she was the inventor of radiotherapy. And from that perspective, I was really, really touched. It was a big thing, the history of Marie Curie, in terms of what she created and how she made changes in the medical world. What are your thoughts about that? And do you have any other people that you have in mind that from the medical world? Because that was somebody that came straight up for me, because I'd worked there for a while, and it made me think, oh yes, of course, Marie Curie.
Oh, absolutely, Caroline. I find her a phenomenal woman. The fact that she was the first one to win a Nobel Prize for her radio. But also, I wanted to ask, what was they have the daffodil, I remember. Was it the daffodil?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. What was the emblem of the daffodil? What was that meaning? Why did she choose
the daffodil? Was newness at springtime. And, everybody has an emblem, a logo, and the daffodil was created in terms of spring, newness, and yellow. Also, I mean, I worked there in terms of the marketing department, and they didn't really look at what the daffodil was, but it was actually, there was something that we did. We worked on the branding, and it was something that we looked at in terms of creating more of an understanding of what the daffodil was representing. But it was newness, springtime, beginnings, and yellow is actually the color of the solar plexus. So it's a very strong color, and it's the first signs of spring, isn't it, when you think about daffodil, certainly in this country.
Yeah, that's a great analogy, actually. I didn't know that. It's fantastic. Love it. What I was going to say, I looked, there's a woman, Rosalind Franklin.
Yeah.
And she was born 1920. And she did her revolutionary work because she discovered the double helix structure of DNA. Plus, she had an understanding of how to read X-rays at that time, how to read radiography, and quite a phenomenal woman. And I find that, and again, isn't it strange how it's very in stem cells, radioactivity? Again, it's about the health. It'd be quite interesting. I didn't really go as far as trying to find out women engineering. Like, was he a woman pilot? I wonder. There must have been a woman pilot flying a charter plane. Makes me wonder.
So let's look at the fact that the medical world seemed to create a spearhead of women. And that's probably because there were women nurses that were much more accepted at that time. And the fact that they were there working every day on the ground, in the situations of needing to find cures and being on the ground in terms of the problems that they had to solve. And so I personally feel, and it isn't something that I've researched, but I'm feeling that the medical world probably created these inventors because they were seeing a problem and they wanted to solve a problem because they were seeing a problem every day. And from my perspective, I feel that that's how inventors are created, that they see a problem that needs solving that hasn't been solved previously. And so Marie Curie Cancer Care and the one that you've suggested, the Rosalind, was it Rosalind Franklin?
Yeah.
Both of them in the medical world, on the ground, seeing challenges. And because they're there, and it is about being in the environment that you're creating the possibility and the invention for change. So in that space, why is it that there's only a few? Why is it that there isn't lots more coming up? Do you think it might have something to do with confidence?
Well, just going back a little bit, Caroline, I've just thought of something as well with the fact that we said that women were in the health department and invention of certain stem cells and everything. But remember, World War I, World War II, the gentlemen, the men went out to war. And who was manning the factories, going in, doing the cars, doing this and this? The women were sent into the factories. So they had to learn the engineering works of a car. They had to learn all these, they were with heavy machinery. That was a big change around. So maybe from there, they could have been some women out there that had actually said, you know what, I really like this. I really like the mechanics of a car. I really like the engineering works of this fusion of this, let's say, a washing machine that's going round and round. I really like how it's doing all this. So it's almost like it birthed the inventor in some of these women. I don't know, it just come to me now.
Well, I have to say that I did find a couple that were in the computer world, which I was really surprised about. So Ada Lovelace, she created the first complex program in 1843. 1843. So I thought the computer had been invented only in recent times, but in 1843, Ada Lovelace, she was known for the first complex program. Also, I did find another one, Grace Hopper. She, you know, when you type in the commands, you know, like sort of there's different, like Alt, Shift, you know, the different commands on the computer. She created that. She was a programmer, and she created the commands that we're using in today's times. So it was, for me, as you're looking at the engineering side of it and the technology, there was technology in that, you know, sort of in terms of trailblazing and women. But I don't feel that they're that known or that famous in terms of they're not really that talked about. And I wonder why that is. We hear about Steve Jobs, you know, we hear about the person that created the first Dell, Alan Sugar, in our times. But I didn't hear much before that. And my question is, I wonder why the women aren't talked about in the way that the men are talked about in terms of the inventions. And I'd like to look a little bit deeper about this, because I did some training way back, probably about 2005, 2006, I think it was. And Think and Grow Rich was actually created. It was composed and authored by two people. And there's a woman, and I can't for the life of me think of her name. It just like sort of came up with, and she actually started the authoring of that book and creating the content that she's never really talked about. And I've only just seen her recently as well on another broadcast, another seminar online. And I just can't think of, I'll have to put it in the comments afterwards. I think it's Sharon H. I need to put it in the comments. But that made me really surprised that even though there were two people, a man and a woman, it was mainly the man that was really put forward in terms of the kudos and the accolade. And that's what I want to look at. I wonder what's happening there, and why is it that the woman isn't standing up and fighting for being recognized? So in the space of the work that you do, Dr. Chan, what do you think is occurring there in terms of the feminine and the masculine energy?
Oh, yes. With me coming from the music industry, especially in the 90s, it was very much run by the male industry. Like, for example, in the record companies, you'd have the A&R department that would go out and scout for talent to be potential to be signed to their label, was always represented by men. Yeah. And the CEO of the record labels at that time, yes, that was run by a whole board of men. Yet they're the ones that were signing up the I would say, the artists, the young divas, the actresses, even Hollywood, all men. So it's only started to change, especially even in the publishing side as well. I reckon about the last maybe 20 years started to change. But in the 80s, 90s, yeah, in the noughties is when it really started to change, and women started to be recognized. Because behind an intelligent man is the brains and the nurturing and the caring of the woman. Because that invention might not have, from that person, like from a man, that invention might not have grown and expanded without the understanding, compassion, and the woman taking a back seat, but knowing really behind closed doors they are the front seat, because who is the inventor talking to is pillow talk with their partner, girlfriend or wife. When they have problems with certain things with their invention, who would be there? It would be the woman. So really, they have been there, but they've been hid behind the curtain. But now the curtains are off, and these women are saying, that's it. No, we're going to have that recognition that we so deserve. The movement. Yeah.
Thank you. Some really valid points, Dr. Chan. I further want to look at in the world of finance. With inventions, they cost money, and a lot of money for some types of inventions. And it could be that financial constraints of being able to get hold of finances. The banks would usually deal with the men, and especially in olden times, Victorian times, it was usually the men that were looking to get a bank loan. But what are your thoughts about the fact that maybe financial constraints of the confidence to put together a plan and go to a bank or go to an investor, because I see a lot of men doing that because they don't have the same feeling about being rejected. Maybe. What are your thoughts about that? Because I feel that it's about rejection, which may be something that's preventing a woman stepping forward, asking for finance and stepping forward. And also confidence issues. It might be that she doesn't feel she's going to be taken seriously. What are your thoughts about the confidence issues and the constraints of being able to get finance?
That's a really good question. What I just feel and sense is that it's either women that have got extreme confidence, but overconfidence. It's almost like they become ball breakers. And you have the other women that are so submission, that won't say boo-hoo to a goose. So there's more of the women that are underconfident, and the ones that are overconfident, it's almost they're more into their manly energy anyway. They're more prone to be more testosterone male, even though they're female. But yeah, I think it's a difficult one to answer fully. I'm doing the best I can.
No, you're absolutely right in terms of masculine energy. The women that have done well are generally in their masculine energy. They're very focused. They're not in their emotions. And this is key, that they're not in their emotions. They're very focused. They're very competitive, and they're going after something because they see a goal. So they're focused in terms of being goal orientated. And so this is about that we are both masculine and feminine energy, which you'll be, that's the top of your form for you. But what I find really fascinating is that in Victorian times and certainly in early century times, 19th century times, that there were women writers, authors, that authored under a man's name. And that was because they didn't think they were going to be taken seriously. And so this brings all sorts of things. It's like opening a can of worms. We're looking at inventors, the people that trailblaze, that really did do great things. And some of the ones that we've mentioned did amazing things. But what about the ones that didn't? What about the ones, the authors that published under a man's name instead of their own name? What about the people that felt so uncomfortable that they gave their husbands the information? They worked with them, but as you quite rightly said, that they didn't take or get the recognition that they were behind the man. This is maybe where that cliche comes from. Behind every good man, there's a wonderful woman. Behind a superstar man, there's a good woman behind him that's been supporting him. So what are your thoughts in terms of the fact that the women are penning their stories and their books under a man's name? What does that bring up for you?
Well, because I come from Yorkshire, West Yorkshire, there's the Bronte country, and Jane Eyre, apparently, when she was writing and she took it to the printers, she kept sending her scripts, and they actually thought she was a man. So when she turned up, and she turned out to be a woman, it was very difficult for them. They loved her stories, but as soon as they found out she was a woman, it took them a while to take her on board. And so they wanted her to go by a man's name. And she did quite the opposite. But it took her much longer. Had she gone and been a man's name, she would have got more money and she would have been published quicker. But because she held out, she said, no, I'm staying in my own power, my own strength, my own female, my name, then it took her much longer to receive that money. But as far as other novelists, I don't know anyone else that comes to mind that's a female novelist but has had to disguise as a man. I'm not quite sure, to be honest, Caroline.
No, it just came to mind that, you know, what you've described, and I remember the Bronte stories very well because that was part of my schooling. And, you know, to pen underneath a man's name was something that was quite common. Otherwise, they just wouldn't be taken seriously. And I remember one book, and I know that we're talking about inventions, but, you know, sort of this brings the point about, you know, why there isn't many women. And one of my pet things is grammar. And so I bought a book called Each Shoots Leaves. And it was a very little, you know, compendium type book about grammar and, you know, sort of where to punctuate and where not to. And it was a fun book. But again, that was something that was penned by a woman, but she had challenges. And I think there was a masculine name on it. And then it became, if I'm remembering correctly, and it was something that, you know, sort of there is this, will I be taken seriously? And I do wonder whether some names deliberately sound like they could be a man or could be a woman. Like Teddy, for instance, could be a man or it could be a woman. Daniel could be a man or it could be a woman. And I do wonder whether these by names that can be either feminine or masculine, you don't quite know who's going to show up. And I wonder whether that's something that's pushing the agenda in terms of being recognized and taken seriously. What are your thoughts about names of women that can also be deemed as possibly a name of a man? And so when you're expecting somebody to turn up, they're actually a woman, but the person thought they were meeting a man.
Yeah, I was going to say my own sister. She's called Samantha, but we call her Sam.
Yeah.
So that, but also going back to novelists, wasn't there a novelist called Mary Shelley that was a man? Mary, is it Shelley? Mary Shelley? Oh, I have to find out what it was. It was romantic novels, very romantic novels, and he had to go by a female name, and he was male. But I can't quite remember the full. I think it was Mary Shelley or something.
And vice versa. You know, we are actually towards the end of our show. Can you believe that?
Already?
Yes,
wow, that's gone quick. Just 2 of us, wow.
So I'd like to just, before we actually finish, I'd like to focus on what women can do to step up. What would be good for them to do? Because we are actually looking at the fact that even though there are women inventors that have trailblazed and done really well, we don't really hear their stories so often. We don't really hear the grandeur of what they did. We generally hear the stories of the men that have trailblazed, and then we have to go digging and looking and can't remember the names because they're not so famous. So could you give one tip to a woman that's listening to the show and maybe has that creative genius, has an idea that she wants to get out there, an invention, but she's too afraid? Could you give them one tip to do to actually put themselves forward? What are your thoughts, Dr. Chan?
Well, number one, she's got to have a journal. She's got to start writing what she's feeling, to write her passions, and her passions will turn into her visions and her passions, and it will manifest into her dreams. So first of all, she has to have a journal and just start writing at random what she feels, whether or not it's actually manifested in the physicality. If she's writing down, it means that she's already bringing forth the realization and the awakening of what she wants to do. So it's about just, and recording her dreams, because in dreams, that's where you get messages. In synchronicity, if you keep getting the synchronicity, you must follow that, because it tells you there's a sign there for you to follow that. And this is all to do with your passion, your purpose, your heart dream, your soul, your mission in life. And when you get on your mission in life, then you do become a leader upon yourself. So number one, a journal, and start writing what you feel and what visions are coming to you. Just start writing each day, every day, and have that time for yourself, and just say, okay, this is Caroline time, and I have half an hour or even 10 minutes a day, and in those 10 minutes I turn off the phone, and I've just got and I put pen to paper, and it will start to work. It will start working in you and through you. And it might start off going crazy at first, but it will make sense.
That's brilliant, because mission, purpose, that's exactly what I would describe. When you are on purpose, when you know what you want to do to make a difference, to change the world, when you know and you're solely, fully present in that mission and that purpose, things come to you, ways, opportunities. And so it's about feeling comfortable to say what feels good for you. And one of mine was, I wanted to play my part to create world peace. I wanted to create a legacy. And here I am on this channel, and everything is recorded. Everything is there forever. So when I'm not here anymore, in many years to come, all my content on these shows are on YouTube, and it'll be there forever for people to help them create, move out of their challenges and create a more peaceful life. And so I do feel it is about you being on purpose in your mission. And it'll be very easy when you are following your true path rather than doing something that you're told that you should do, or something that you feel that you should do. So expectations from others as well as what you put on yourself. Well, thank you very much. Dr. Chan, please do share with our viewers how they can contact you.
Oh, thank you, Caroline. But just before I say that, I just want to say thank you, Caroline, because in the way that you also help everyone to you remove all the undercurrent anxiety and all the problems, all the undercurrent problems, because they're blockages. So you help to unblock that so they can start with a clean plate and then start building from there. So you are supremely important in any person who wants to be a trailblazer inventor. You have to bust the stress, because it's the stress that stops someone from achieving their full capacity, because they give up because the stress is too much.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So please do share with our viewers the best way to contact you.
Oh, thank you. The best way is to go on to, there's my website here. You can go on there and you can find out what I do. So Heart Awakener, award-winning artist, being in industry, a novelist, star child. You'll find out everything on there. But on social media, if you want to contact me, it's LinkedIn, Dr. Madalene Chan. And I'm interested in anyone that has come to that point to say, what do I want to do in my life? How can I connect to being childlike? Because one thing I've got to say, Caroline, and everybody, is that you will not be able to become an inventor or even become to be a trailblazer inventor if you are stuck in a ego. You need to be childlike essence and play and explore and just follow and have fun with it, because once it's hard work, then you're not going to do it. You're going to give up.
I concur. Thank you so much for the glorious testimony. Thank you.
I concur. I love that.
And for me, you can reach me on nomorestress at live.co.uk or call me on +44 if you're international. If you're local, 07523 120 189. And you can check me out on social media. My favorite platforms are Facebook and LinkedIn. Facebook primarily. Get out. So you can follow me on both of those platforms, and also YouTube. If you go to USA Global TV and Radio, all of my shows will be there on YouTube. Well, thank you very much, everybody. This has been A Woman's Prerogative Part 1. I will be back for A Woman's Prerogative Part 2 at 9 p.m. British Summer Time, and it's 4 p.m. Eastern Time for our Part 2. Thank you very much, and it's been wonderful to share this wonderful journey with you, and I look forward to seeing you in just over an hour. And we'll be back the same time next week. That's on Monday at 7 p.m. British Summer Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And now over to our sponsors.
5 Little Known Secrets for Dementia Caregivers with Tracy Cram-Perkins.
Hi there, I am Tracy Cram-Perkins, the host of the Dementia Home Care Show here on USA Global TV and Radio. I am also the author of the book of the same name. And you'll see this QR code. This is for an extended version of the same talk. So if you want to see the full hour-long version, feel free to scan the code and go to that website. Stick with me. We'll talk about 5 little known secrets to make it a little easier to do dementia caregiving. What you're seeing on the left-hand side is a healthy aged brain, age 55 and above. The one you're seeing on the right is an Alzheimer's disease brain. It is in moderate disease. It is shrinking. It has holes in it. The memories that were in those holes no longer exist. When you're learning something, let's say in kindergarten, you learn how to tie your shoelace. Well, then by the time you're in 2nd grade, your brain remembers that information from tying the shoelace and applies it so you can learn more quickly how to tie more complex knots. So the brain is hardwired to do this for us, so it helps us learn faster so it doesn't take us long to acquire knowledge. The brain is looking for the information and they pick the closest to wherever that hole is. Let's look at some tips that we can use to help do that.
These are 5 simple tools you can use as a dementia caregiver to help your loved one. The whiteboard is a useful tool in recording the day's activities and the answers to repetitive questions. The calendar clock is a very useful tool to orient your loved one on the day, the date, and the time, and remind them of upcoming appointments. The communication cards are a great tool to bridge the gap when they can no longer tell you what's wrong. And then there's the pill minder for when your loved one is still able to take pills but needs prompting. The final tool I want to share with you is the memory book. It tells your loved one's story. It's a great tool for distraction, redirection, also as a conversation starter, and telling you where they are in their story so you know how to answer their questions.
Music is probably the most powerful tool in your toolbox after laughter. Music is a way to maintain connection. It sticks with your brain longer than any other thing, including reading. When you're having an issue with somebody, you can play their favorite music if you move them to another room, something that makes them happy, or you can start singing songs together from their childhood. These are some of my favorite books for caregivers. My show airs on the 3rd Tuesday of every month, and you can view past episodes on YouTube. Thank you, everyone.
This program has been brought to you in part by Tracy Cram-Perkins. Connect with her and order her book at tracycramperkins.com. For more information about Alzheimer's disease, support resources, and how you can help, contact the Alzheimer's Association at 1-800-272-3900 or visit their website at www.alz.org. They offer 24/7 helpline support and a wealth of information to assist you and your loved ones. USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents our partner and sponsor, Mr. Philip Sykes and the British School of Excellence. Building confidence, changing lives. And now, proudly presenting the Polished Professional.
On a transformative journey with the British School of Excellence's comprehensive suite of masterclasses, crafted to elevate your professional and personal life. 8 outstanding modules will elevate you to the next level. Module 1, Exploring Life's Purpose, delves into the depths of self-discovery, guiding you to chart your unique path to fulfillment and success. Module 2, Mastering Professional Presence and Confidence. This masterclass is a deep dive into the art of self-assurance and commanding presence, which is essential for standing out in today's competitive landscape. Module 3, Learn the secrets of visual impact, how to curate a personal style that amplifies your professional brand. Module 4, Mastering Professional Etiquette and Communication Excellence, navigating the nuances of corporate interaction with grace and tact. Module 5, Elegance in Eloquence. We impart powerful techniques to captivate and persuade any audience with your oratory skills. Module 6, Unlock the potential of your emotional intelligence, EQ, and harness the ability to connect, empathize, and lead with emotional savvy. Module 7, Mastering DISC, building a gateway to understanding behavioral styles, fostering better personal and professional relationships. Module 8, Mastery in Dining Etiquette, building your confidence to perfect the subtleties of dining with finesse, enhancing your social savviness at any table. Step into the Polished Professional program where poise, elegance, and excellence aren't just taught, they are instilled for life. Join us to redefine your potential and polish your professional edge.
To learn more, go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. The British School of Excellence are investors in people. Let us invest in you. This program has been brought to you in part by Zane Carson Carruth, etiquette and protocol expert, international award-winning author, television show host, and philanthropist. Thank you to Zane, our official diamond sponsor for USA Global TV and Radio in partnership with E360 TV. Zane is the author of The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever, as well as many other children's books. She's also the television host of Elegance, Polished Demeanor, and Posh Living, seen on USA Global TV and Radio.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Abella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book Abella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
To learn more about Zane, Contact her through her website, zanecarruth.com, ZANECARRUTH.com. Order Zane's books and merchandise. Contact her about being a keynote speaker at your next event.